Okay, then every time when you are carving a side, that is if you carving label side, you place it frontly and sometimes on the other way. So on the label side, I am showing the label side, you divide it into three parts, equal three parts, 1, 2 and 3. Okay, then after division, leave the cervical 1/3 as it is and carve the rest. Keep it in mind, you don't have to carve in the center much. You have to carve little in the center and more on the distal or mesial part. Why? Because the crown from the occlusal aspect is not flat, it is convex. Okay, can you see this? Yes, slightly I develop like this thing. Okay, I am continuing. I am not touching the, or I am not carving the cervical 1/3. Okay, now you can see. Similarly, on the lingual side, this is buccal or labial, and then the lingual side, 1, 2, 3. Leave the cervical 1/3 as it is and carve the rest, incisal 1/3 and the middle 1/3. Okay, but you have to prepare a concavity. Okay, prepare a concavity. It's like this. I prepared a concavity. When you prepare the concavity, you will get the initial glimpse of the crown, future crown. I'll just show you like this. Okay, now at this time, at this stage, you have to converge the crown from the labial side to the lingual side, and this is very much important. You have to place your carver such that the tapering from the buccal side or labial side to the lingual side is achieved by placing the carver more such that the more lingual or the palatal side will be carved and the less buccal side will be carved. Okay, so I am going to give the strike like this. 1, yes, you're getting my point. So see, this is the convergence or the lingual tapering we have achieved. Similarly on the other side, this is my distal, and similarly on the mesial side also you have to. Okay, so this creates my uh, this creates a cingulum to be prominent looking at this time. When you actually taper the tooth from the buccal side to the lingual side, then only you get a prominent cingulum. Okay. Now the crown at the mesodistal at the crown is here, and mesodistal at the cervical is here. There is a difference of 1.5 millimeter, so that is achieved by tapering the crown from the cervical incisal to the cervical, like this, like this. Okay. Yes, you get it. But keep it in mind that the distal side is slightly rounded as compared to the mesial side, which is almost in a straight direction. Okay, so this is my mesial side and this is my distal side. I'll make slightly rounded mesial side. This is a slightly rounded distal side, sorry, and a relatively straighter mesial side. Can you see this? So this is not the final crown actually. This is a bulky crown which need to be carved in a proper measurements afterwards. But before that the blueprint should be ready, and it should be a bulky tooth, and you have to reduce in the proper measurements after that. But you have to get this. Without this you can't carve. Otherwise, if you from the initial you are in the measurements, then your crown will be smaller. Why? Because in the finishing or in the later carving, the tooth shrinks. Now I can check the measurement, this measurement, this measurement, this measurement at this, and I'll carve accordingly. So again you see, like the lingual, this is a future lingual fossa, but we are not going to carve the lingual fossa at this point of time. When we'll ready with the crown na, then only we'll carve the lingual fossa. This is labial again, more on the mesial and the distal, less in the middle, which creates a shape of a this thing. Can you see this shape? Yeah, I want to show this actually. This is not a flat. Most of you are preparing like a flat thing. It is not a flat thing. It is a slightly convex, and the convexity is at the center of the tooth from the occlusal view. Okay, yes, this is, can you see? I'm again removing the wax. I'm adjusting the measurements accordingly. Okay, this is the crown on the lingual side. This is the medial side. This is the distal side. Distal slide. Again, I'm slowly achieving the final shape of the crown. Now, where I can see I almost achieved the crown. Rest the incisal edge is thicker now, so that I'll crowd slightly. Okay, then now I'll carve the root part. You don't have to remove all those big chunks, huh? It is risky, so by just carve slowly. I'm removing the big chunks because I have a control on the carver. That much of control is required, otherwise it will break. Okay, so be careful. So you have to carve the root in confines of the tooth. What is mean by confines? Confines means it should not go beyond the confines of the crown. Like you have, yeah, your crown is like this and your root is like this. It is not like that. So slowly taper the root properly from the cervical area of the tooth to the markings marked previously. See, every time I'm changing my position of the crown in the hands or the block, or the I'm changing the support. Every time I'm taking the support of the fourth finger and I'm carving. Okay. So hardly it requires 15 to 20 minutes to carve a good central incisor. When you will get proper strips. So now the root of the central incisor is slightly triangular. How triangular? The triangles, the one side is this, another is this, and another is this, and they meet. The two sides of the triangle meet and on the lingual side. So the root is also tapered on the lingual side. I'll just show you. Okay, you have to keep the crown intact over the base, huh? Otherwise you will lose the mark, or it is not aesthetically good and considered good. So be very attentive that you should not, when you carve, you should not hold both of the both of the crown as well as the base and carve. Other that time you will break the crown. So I'm removing the wax. Most of you have a problem I saw in your carvings, that this is my crown. Okay, this is where the root starts, and where you abruptly starts the root and you shrink the root like this. It is not like that. It should be a merging. It's not like slanting. It's not a abrupt or a demarcation where you have there is a slight demarcation of the cervical line, but that is not that deep what you prepare. Okay, so I'll taper the crown, taper the root, and I'll form the apical area of the root. Apical area is constricted. Okay, taper from every side, from the lingual side, from the labial side, and you have to form the apex. Without that, how can you get the apex? You have to form the apex, you have to taper from every side, but maintaining that, it forms a triangular shape. And what are the sides of the triangle? One side is this, the labial side, the medial side, and the distal side. Okay, now this is the time where we are going to carve the lingual fossa. There are two lingual fossas and one lingual ridge. How the lingual ridge forms? By carving the two lingual fossas. So take the another part of the carver, another end of the carver, and forms two fossas, one on the medial side and another on the distal side, slightly on the distal side, and the part which is in between these two fossas is a lingual ridge. Can you see this? Can you see this? Yes. So the part which is remaining between the two fossas is a lingual ridge. This is the lingual ridge. When you finish now, it will show in a great depth. Okay, so now this is the time I'll slightly make this tooth prominent on the base so that it is visible properly. But see to that it should not break from the base. Okay, so now this is the time, very important time, where you have to mark the what have to mark the cervical line. Before that, I'll just final touches on the crown. Okay, now I'll mark the cervical line. Before that, this is the distal side, slightly rounded, then the comparatively straightened medial side. Okay, it's like this. ठीक है, slightly increase the taper if you want, if you want the more prominent cingulum. Okay, now we'll mark the cervical line. Start from the this thing, labial side. Start from the labial side. It is convex, and convexity is towards the root. This is my mesial side, that means slightly more curved on the mesial side. Okay, then this is lingual side, then it is less curved on the distal side. I joined properly. Okay, now the final finishing and completion, blending of the cervical line with the rest. Okay, so you can use a cotton piece at this point of time, where you can this is the cotton. You can slowly just move on in every aspect of the tooth, so it will shine and gives a smooth surface. You can see the lingual side, the buccal side. Okay. So this is our central incisor, permanent maxillary central incisor from the labial aspect. This is the labial aspect. From the labial aspect, from the mesial aspect, and this is distal aspect, and this is palatal or the lingual aspect. Okay, can you see the fossa? Two lingual fossas, one lingual ridge, cingulum. Okay, this is the foot. I can like this, because this is upper. Nice.